This homily includes events of the past and events of the present, specifically violence committed unto children. If you are not in a headspace where you can receive a message like that, I invite you to care for yourself in whatever way you need. Shortly after Jesus Christ's birth, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream, warning him to take his wife and child and flee to Egypt. King Herod, ruler of Judea, a mountainous region located in Palestine's West Bank, sought to find the Christ child and murder him, fearing Jesus would threaten Herod's hold on power. Herod planned to murder all of the firstborn boys within the region. Joseph, Mary, and their baby Jesus fled Judea and traveled into Egypt. The family crossed through Gaza on their 40-mile journey. Jesus Christ was born a refugee, his family fleeing violence and certain death at the hands of an authoritarian fascist government. Jesus' birth tells us the Savior of the world can be born in any place at any time. Almost certainly, that place will be where the world is most wounded, where the Prince of Peace, the mediator, the bright morning star is most desperately required. As is sung in John Paul's anti-carol, when his kingdom does come, it'll belong to the poor, the homeless and poor. In the story of the world's most historically known refugee family, the Savior of the world comes in the same way we all do, brand new, helpless, vulnerable, and innocent. Jesus is displaced for at least the first 3 years of his life. The first 3 years of life, when human beings are most tender, most breakable, when we understand pain the least, the Christ child lived, separated from his home by war and by genocide. The story of Jesus Christ is a unique one in what this refugee, this displaced person, grew to be. But the story of the birth of Jesus Christ is a story happening over and over across time and also right now. Every child born might, if given the chance, heal what is most broken amongst us. Right this very moment, somewhere, the Savior of the world is being born. There is no promise this Savior will survive long enough to save us. Likely not, so long as we perpetuate conditions in which children die before they are able to live. It is not my intention to contextualize the story of Christ's birth to make you feel guilty or to pull you out of your hard-fought Christmas spirit or to force you to shout from the heavens to the heavens that you're grateful you were born with certain privileges. It's likely many of us are already in that place. I know I have found myself many times a day for what feels like years now, rocked out of my complacent little life by the truth of the horrors surrounding us. It's painful and it's literally dizzying and it's utterly exhausting in its futility. The world wants us to forget its horrors. The world wants us to grow hypnotized and complacent with consumption, wasteful and wanton, while those across the world and in our very neighborhoods die from preventable injustices. The world wants us happy. Happiness is the feeling we get when we do what the world urges. Happiness is what we feel when we forget the terrors of the world, when we fill our voids with stuff and whatever numbs us, whatever lets us forget and remain comfortable and entertained. But Christmas is about joy. Joy is different from happiness. Joy must know pain, one's own and another, to exist. Joy pushes us beyond our own self into a space where our hearts seek the healing and liberation of the collective. Joy refuses to allow the empire to crush us. Joy chooses to love this world despite its brokenness. Joy chooses hope even when all hope seems lost. Joy is an act of resistance. I've found only one surefire thing that induces joy, and it's helping other people. This is also the only way to stabilize the spinning, helpless, hopeless feeling brought on by the horrors. Right now, while there are things we can do to help those suffering across the world, and we should do those things, there is much, much more we can do for the people right beside us. Christianity teaches us we are called to love our neighbor, and all people are our neighbors. In Islam, the Quran counsels that to be a true believer, you must desire the same good for others that you desire for yourself. And in Judaism, Jewish people are commanded, tikkun olam, repair the world. Repair the world. A few weeks ago, my partner and I were driving home after a long day. We'd attended an event somewhere and we'd run errands, and it was dark and spitting rain, and the Iowa wind was strong enough to shift the car from side to side as we drove home. We were hungry and a little cranky. As Dysart Road met Dysart Town, just down the road from where we turned right to go home, there was a truck with its flashers on, less than a quarter mile from the unmanned gas station. We agreed to drive beyond our turn to check on the driver of the flashing truck. In the car was a woman coming home from helping her daughter care for her sick baby, ran plumb out of gas in walking distance of a gas pump, but without a gas can to carry it in the freezing, windy, spitting nighttime. So we zipped home, grabbed our gas can, filled it up, and returned to the stranded woman. We got home quite a while later than we'd planned, and we were even more tired and more hungry than we already were, but we felt good. We'd helped another person, which is the right thing to do. We had that warm sense that we'd done what we were supposed to, and the world felt a tiny, tiny, tiny speck more balanced and relieved than it had before. Every time my partner and I do a good deed, we joke and tell each other we did it so we could post about it on Facebook. And then, and here's the important part, we never actually post about it on Facebook. That's trying to cheat happiness out of joy. Nobody else needs to know you did a good thing to feel the joy from doing. I promise other people will know you're a good person, even if you're not telling everyone you're a good person. Yes, I know that I told you a story of a good deed and then told you to do good deeds, but not to tell people about it. I hope you'll give me the grace of knowing I did it to illustrate a point, which is that I'm a good person. Maya Angelou wrote, "I'm convinced of this. Good done anywhere is good done everywhere. For a change, start by speaking to people rather than walking by them like they're stones that don't matter. As long as you're breathing, it's never too late to do some good. Good done anywhere is good done everywhere. It's never too late to do some good." This Christmas, I'm choosing joy. I'm getting on my knees and I'm praying to a heaven I hope can hear us all for peace, for mercy, and for justice in the world, especially in places where the Savior may be being born right this moment. And then I'm turning to my neighbor, who is every person whom I pass, and I'm trying to do some good. Merry Christmas.